So yesterday our concentration was on how we should start understanding the memory management what your Oracle provides with respect to your particular RAM. Okay, within the RAM, Oracle is not releasing the total amount of the memory that it has demanded from Oracle or select the operating system. It is very clearly trying to manage the memory in such a way that your process of the data can be done very effectively. But when we start keeping some architecture like this, which is getting released by quota within the memory environment or memory architecture, then we cannot expect this to be something different when you are trying to get into your particular disk storage. Even within your disk storage also, it has to give you the same kind of ability and same kind of criteria factors. Else, while you are storing the data in the permanent state, it could be a failure for performance. So you should always understand few things. Now, once we have developed a database and we have made the database to be available, the database will be used by only one single user or multiple users. So once we design a database, definitely there are multiple different number of users who are continuously doing the transactions. So collecting the data, operating the data and manipulating the data are very common features of any database now. Now when you're working in the classrooms or when you're working in the personal machines, you're going to have only one single connection through which you are trying to create the table, then insert the data, you are deleting, updating or anything. It's an individual transaction. But once you have developed an enterprise level application, no enterprise level application will be designed in such a way that a single user will be working. A multiple different number of users will start functioning and all will try to share the data simultaneously, parallelly at the same time. Now, whenever I try to insert some record into my table, I personally feel that Oracle is accepting my record and it is committing my record permanently into the database. That is my perspective. But what actually Oracle does is, whenever it wants to really go for the sake of any transaction on your database, it will take individual transactions done by every user. Now, whenever you are committing that particular piece of the transaction, then the transactional chain should become permanent, no doubt about it. But Oracle will try to see that upon the hard disk, a proper amount of bandwidth can be definitely utilized. What I mean by bandwidth is, if suppose like you're a human being, you have the capacity of carrying some 25 kgs weight, let us say, then I don't think you'll try to carry each kg 25 times. You'll try to see that all 25 kgs is kept into one single container and you'll try to carry that at a time. Why? Because you don't want to waste your bandwidth and at the same time you don't want to waste your IO cycles. If suppose like your capacity is to carry 25 kgs at a time, if somebody is calling you and is giving you 1 kg each time and is saying that please take this 1 kg, keep it after 1 kilometer and come back, now I think you'll get irritated because definitely you are missing your bandwidth now. So rather than that, what do you feel? Give me 25 kgs at a time. I will carry 25 kgs, keep it after 1 kilometer wherever you need and I'll come back. This will be the general nature of any particular human being. So when we are using computers also it should be the same. Suppose like my system is having a capacity of writing 1 GB data into my hard disk. Now if I make my system write 1 MB each and every time, I'm just wasting the bandwidth of my particular system. So the best way is what now? Give total 1 GB of data to be written at a time. But one single user may not generate 1 GB of data definitely. There is no doubt about it. See, if I am working in a banking transaction, I am a cashier. My single record will not be 1 GB. At the same time, I cannot wait for 100 customers to come and take all their data and post it at a time. Now that also I cannot do. Each customer I have to definitely honor and each customer I have to definitely satisfy by entering his data. Now imagine for every single operation your database is trying to do the transaction on the database server each and every time moving between the server and the client. Now the number of IO cycles are automatically increasing. The network load is also increasing here. This is where Oracle plans a very wonderful architecture. The similar kind of architecture we cannot keep it as it is into the disk. Because RAM management is different, disk management is different. But first we are collecting the data directly into the disk or into the RAM first of all, RAM. Once the data gets collected into the RAM, from there we will push the data to become permanent into the disk now. So RAM and disk architecture should be synchronized very properly for their existence, else they will fail. So Oracle has a very wonderful architecture for this. What Oracle does is, you watch, the moment your system has started, Oracle will try to allocate one memory that is called as what? SGA, we said. Any transaction you are doing, the change of the transactional data will enter into this SGA first of all. And after that particular data enters into the SGA, from there only Oracle will propose the data for permanent storage. But whenever I want to store my data permanently, I have to store my data permanently on my disk now. Now let us understand one small thing. A disk is a collection, your hard disk is a collection of multiple different number of platters. Each platter will try to store the data, and every platter is etching the data on both the sides, means it's double-sided. If I want to keep the data on my platters, then definitely I should have some heads that can do that particular piece of the job. So if you can just watch very carefully, this is my platter number 1, this is my another platter that is 2. In that way, if you can just watch, I am having a hard disk that is having 5 platters, let us say. Each platter is having capacity of storing the data on both the sides of the platter. It is dual-sided. Now to etch the data onto this platter, I am having one head now. This is called as a head. Now each platter will have how many heads now? 2 heads. One head on the top and the other head on the bottom. Now both the heads together, they can start keeping the data. Now each head will be having its own bandwidth to which it can store the data. Now we are going with some assumptions now. My assumption is, my head is having, each head in my particular system is having a capacity of 2 MB of data to be written and 2 MB of data to be read. Try to catch my assumptions very carefully. Each particular head is having 2 MB of capacity to write the data and 2 MB of capacity to read the data. So one head bandwidth is how much now? 2 MB. Now imagine I am giving less than 2 MB data to my head. What is the problem? If I am giving less than 2 MB data to my particular head, what is the problem? I am wasting the bandwidth. Capacity of my head is lost. Because my head is having the capacity of writing or reading 2 MB at a time. But if you give only 1 MB, the amount of work done for 2 MB, the amount of work done for 1 MB will be same. So the concept of utilizing your device is, better see that your device is utilized by the maximum ability of its bandwidth. That is what is the criteria. See, the whole world works on master-slave implementation standards, man. It's as simple as I'll tell you. Suppose like you have recruited one small servant in your house. The general attitude of the master will be what? Can tell me, the general tendency of the master will be what? Make the servant to sit in one particular place and give him breakfast, lunch and dinner and say, Suk Suk Jio. I don't think so. If suppose like you are expecting a servant will be giving you 2 hours of time to work, you want to take 4 hours of work from him. That's what is the general criteria. Finish. This is a general tendency of the world. You cannot say, so this is inhuman and all these things. Now when you come into the rule of the business, nothing is inhuman there. Tomorrow you will go into your industries, you will understand. Suppose like a company says, per day pay package for you is 2000, then definitely your company will try to make you work for 8 hours only, but taking 16 hours of the effort. That's a general tendency anywhere, because I have to exploit your maximum bandwidth to get maximum gain. When we design the devices also, we design the devices in the same way. So if I have designed my device in such a way that this head has the capacity of reading or writing 2 MB data, then I have to utilize that entire 2 MB. If I utilize anything less than that, absolutely I am exploiting the bandwidth. I am not utilizing the bandwidth. If I give more than 2 MB, it cannot work. because its capacity is 2 MB. Your capacity is 25 kgs. I keep 100 kgs on your body, you will collapse. So I don't want my slave to die. At the same time, I don't want my slave to rest. That's the criteria now. So even when we are designing the criteria of the databases or any technology, we design with the same principles. Now, what is a guarantee that, just catch my words, what is a guarantee that when you are making use of your database, definitely you have 2 MB of data always? Because in business, I can have the data which is more, I can have the data which can be less. So technically we cannot say like, definitely the data will be 2 MB. Now I cannot tell my businessman, please see that you are taking only 2 MB of data. How he knows? So try to understand the dynamism of the applications in real time. In that way, my head at the bottom also can read and write how much data? 2 MB. So try to understand one thing. We call this as a head, and these two heads together, they are called as one headset. Terminology should be taken very properly, okay? These two heads together, they are called as one headset. How many platters am I having? 5. So how many headsets am I having? 5 headsets are there. How many heads am I having? 10. These all heads, they are connected to one specific assembly. These all headsets are connected to one assembly, where these heads are designed in such a way that exactly by accuracy, by micro levels, they are at the same distance. Such lot of accuracy is presented there. Means no two heads will be at two different distances. Means the head on the top is facing which particular sector, the head at the bottom also will be placed only on the same sector at the same time. And in that way, all headsets, they will be exclusively available to the same distance on your particular hard disk at any point of time. That's how they manage the accuracy in manufacturing. Be very clear about that. And all these heads are connected to one particular component of a unit, and we call this as head assembly. So one head assembly is a connection of multiple headsets. Each headset is a connection of two heads. Each headset can manage one platter. The number of platters can increase by the architecture and the size of your domain of that hard disk manufacturer. Now, there are no standard calculations here. But one thing is very clear now, okay? What is the capacity of my head? 2 MB. What is my aggregated capacity of my particular headset? 4 MB. What is my total aggregated capacity of my head assembly? 20 MB. Means, let us try to make use of a common sense now. Whenever I want to write my data, definitely I will move this head assembly into my platters. You agree with me? So this head assembly is moving inside and outside. Now whenever it is moving, all the heads are kept in the same location of the platters or different locations. Same location. On different platters, they are on the same location. Now let us try to understand one thing. Every head will be having capacity of writing the data and reading the data individually or not? Yes. Means if all these 10 heads are connected to one head assembly, now all the 10 heads can read the data at the same time and write the data at the same time. Try to catch my point now. Therefore, if I am expecting each head to write 2 MB and I give only 2 MB of data, my head capacity is full. But only one single head is not moving every time. An head assembly is moving. When your total head assembly is moving inside or outside, the most intelligent way to program my applications is to give the bandwidth of the data which is equal to the head assembly capacity. Means my hard disk can give me the best bandwidth and it can give me the best performance when I can provide 20 MB of data to be written and it can be read at a time. Be very clear about that. Anything less than that, anything more than that, anything more my head assembly cannot take it because its capacity is only 20 MB. Anything less it can take, but you are making your heads to work less than their capacity now. So, can you expect in business every time you will have 20 MB data, man? No. Every time we cannot expect that. We'll definitely have 20 MB data. Can we go and tell the businessman, until you don't have 20 MB data, don't take any order? We cannot say like that. So this is where Oracle makes a wonderful construct. So these heads are, these particular platters are rotating on a spindle motor. The head assembly is moving on a stepper motor. So by using the concept of the stepper motor, the head assembly moves in and out and the spindles are continuously rotating now. Now final goal is to see that you give 20 MB of data at a time. So what Oracle does is, it will design one architecture of its memory where all the clients who are connecting to my Oracle database, these clients are simultaneously putting their data not directly to the disk. Instead, their data will be managed through SGA. Therefore, whenever I am giving some data in my Oracle, I am physically feeling that my data is permanently accepted. But in practicality, my data is where? In SGA. In that way, every user's data will be collected into SGA. Now, SGA has to be managed very properly now. So, all our assumptions, those figures will change when you go to the real architecture. My bandwidth capacity is how much? 20 MB. So, Oracle will release 20 MB of memory for client operations within the SGA. And whenever a client is working, it starts collecting the data into that 20 MB now. Until that is not 20 MB, it cannot take the data to disk. But writing 20 MB of data into the disk will take some time or not. Till the data is written into the disk, can you tell the end user, please wait, I am writing the data? No. Therefore, to see that these things are not stopping anywhere, what Oracle does is, Oracle tries to take some amount of memory around 60 MB at a time from the SGA. And it divides that into 3 different kinds of segmental values of 20 MB each. It will be opening the first 20 MB to collect the data there. When this 20 MB, the first 20 MB of data is being collected, once it is full by 80%, once the 20 MB of the memory is full by 80%, then Oracle starts transferring that particular piece of the data into the next 20 MB. Automatically the data transfer will start now. Try to understand one point now. When it is 80% full, you are transferring the data to what? Next 20 MB segment. Because of that, the first segment will be full anytime, or it will always be having that capacity of 20 MB. That capacity of 20 MB free space will be available, yes or no? Because that capacity of 20% free space is available, then automatically it will never goes into deadlock. Clients are continuously producing the data now. If suppose like Oracle is not having the data transfer mechanism internally, what will happen? Once the first segment becomes 20 MB full, then immediately I should write the data into where? Disk. Until I don't complete the data writing to my disk, I should tell my clients, please wait. Because until this is not empty, the 20 MB is not empty, you cannot make the clients write now because there is no space available. But watch Oracle's intelligence here. It is allocating another 20 MB of stock buffer. And then the moment the first 20 MB is 80% full, it starts transferring the data into the next 20 MB. using producer-consumer algorithms. Because of that, what happens is the end users will never stop their data collection. Now, once this 20 MB is full, once again what will happen? The first buffer will automatically has to wait till this 20 MB is used. Yes or no? So what Oracle does is, once the second 20 MB buffer is full by 80%, it transfers the data once again, okay? It will start transferring that particular piece of the data into the next 20 MB. So, I'm having two operational buffers that are in the continuous concept of what? Producer and consumer. Now, this 20 MB, this third 20 MB, once it is full, this 20 MB of data should go to disk now. But this 20 MB of data cannot go to the disk directly at a time. Why? Because one single head is not writing 20 MB. The total head assembly is writing 120 MB, with each head writing how much? 2 MB. Each head writing 2 MB. So I have to definitely arrange the data in the same style. Then only my head can write the data. So what Oracle is doing is, the 20 MB of the buffer it is taking now. And then watch carefully, this 20 MB is equal to the capacity of what? Head assembly. But head assembly is not writing the data. It has to give the data to whom? Headsets. Each headset is how much? 4 MB. So Oracle will immediately take the 20 MB and splits the data into 4 MB segments. Data splitting algorithm is used here. And using the data splitting algorithm, Oracle will make it into 4 MB of each. So now each 4 MBs are equal to what now? Tell me, each headset. But each headset is not writing the data directly. What is writing? Head is writing. So Oracle calls another level of the data splitting algorithm and makes each 4 MB data get divided into what now? 2 MB. Now these 2 MBs are equal to the capacity of what now? Each head. So this total data of 2 MB what is available each will be sent to the disk controller. Disk controller communicates with the head assembly and all this data will be released now. We are having total how much data? 20 MB data. 20 MB data split into 2 MB each. Now are we storing 20 MB data continuously or broken into pieces into different locations? Broken into pieces and we are storing into each location. First 2 MB on this side and another 2 MB on this side. Yes or no? In that way we are breaking the data and we are storing into different locations on the hard disk. Now, this kind of mechanism is creating data fragments or it's creating sequential continuous data. Data fragments. Fragmentation always has one problem. What is that? Fragmentation always has one problem. What is that? Speed is lost. Keeping the data by fragmentation, Oracle, how it is promising that it is the world's fastest transactional database. Oracle's algorithmic management is totally wonderful, I am telling you. It will split the data into different pieces, stores the data by fragmentation, but always promises that it is the world's fastest transactional database at any point of time. How Oracle is promising this? Watch carefully. Oracle is storing the 22 MB of data on the top of this sector and the same 2 MB of data at the bottom of the same particular platter under the same sector. In that way, each platter is containing 2 MB segments which are given at the same time at the same location. Do you agree with me? Now watch carefully. Whenever my head assembly moves inside, all heads are moving to the same sector and same track or different sector and different tracks. Same sector and same track but on different platters. Now, you just watch carefully when my platters are rotating, definitely they are creating one elliptical or circular shape of the data. Do you agree with me? Means heads are writing the data which is circular in that particular piece of the platter. Now you just virtually you try to connect all these particular criterial segments which are tracked by the platters continuously. This is giving us which shape? Cylindrical shape. Oracle will store all its data in the cylinders. Within your hard disk, what Oracle is doing is, Oracle is putting your data in the form of cylinders. Outer cylinders always have what? More diameter, and the inner cylinders have always what? Less diameter. Are you catching the point now? It is just stacking one cylinder within another cylinder when it is storing the data. Whenever you tell Oracle to read the data, it is catching a cylinder where that data along with anything else is continuously 20 MB in multiple different number of platters, pulls the data and keeps it in the memory for you. Now you may say, sir, my data what I am requesting is not exactly 20 MB, it can be less than that. Oracle will go to one cylinder and gets you all the 20 MB at a time. You use the 20 MB, you don't use the 20 MB, whatever you need it will keep it in the memory plus the extra that came in. So don't you think that because of this memory is wasted? No. In a database application, I am querying the data or many number of people are querying the data. Many number of clients are querying the data. My query may have only 1 MB, but when I went, I brought all the 20 MB from that position into my memory. So when the next person is querying the data, what is the advantage? Such a data, what he is searching may not be searched in the disk because it is already loaded in the memory and he will take the data from the memory directly. So Oracle is not promising that for every request for which you want to read the data, definitely you should go to the disk now. Only few number of requests will go to the disk. Major number of requests will be automatically served from where? The memory. There is nothing but the SGA. Because of this, Oracle promises more speed. For students who are coming from technical education, you like or you do not like, when we ask you certain questions on architecture, you have to definitely say them. Else we cannot excuse you. You cannot give lame reasons like, sir, in my college they did not tell me enough. So we don't listen to all those stories. Why? Because once you are given one syllabus and a particular book for reading in your academics, now somebody told you, somebody did not tell you is not a concern. Did you do that properly or not is your concern. Remember that. So when Oracle is inserting the data, how many times you can feel that Oracle takes all these things into criteria and then it inserts the data for you. So writing an insert statement is not a difficult job. But behind the insert, what is happening? Now either for you or for me or anybody else, the syntax of the insert statement is simple. Whenever you want to insert some data, you will always call insert. You have one particular class called as into. Then you will definitely give the name of the table. If the need arises, you will try to give the column names. It's not compulsory you should give the column names. In this way you can have any number of columns. Then into these columns you need to give the values, where values will identify the value what you want to give to that particular piece of the requirement. As per the number of columns what you have declared. So you just need to recognize through the construct of what you want to represent, and according to that you are just going to make the rule of the difference. So I don't think anybody who is technologically trying to work with Oracle and he says I know Oracle can really make any difference in understanding this syntax. So I can insert the data into the table. Nobody is caring about that. Do you know when your insert statement in your Oracle is working, what is the technical architecture it is following for inserting the data? You don't need to go deep and explain the algorithms. At least the technical factor you have to speak. So when you are trying to work with your criteria and composition of your insert, you just watch very carefully. This is your SQL statement for data insert. Then this is called as clause to identify the table name. So you are about to insert the data into which particular table, it will try to identify that particular table name. Then this is nothing but table name into which you want to insert the data, or I will make it more clear. Table name into which data is inserted. Then you are just going with this list of column names into which we want to insert the data. Okay, we want to insert the data. These are all separated by commas. Then you are having this. So this is nothing but clause to identify values to be inserted. Then you are having list of values in the order of the declared columns. With respect to the specific data types as declared in the table. See, when you take any SQL statement, I cannot do this kind of work every time. When you take any SQL statement, you should know each component of the SQL statement definitely. If you don't try to keep those components in your mind, then you will start by hearting. In the initial stages, you can by heart them, but please leave that habit if you are having it from your colleges, because we will come to such a kind of situation, you can't by heart anything anymore after some days. Why? Because only when you remember the reality of the domain, you can execute the commands. You can't definitely by heart. Why? What is the guarantee that the example what you are executing in the class will be the same example I will be asking you in the interview rooms? So leave that habit of by heart now. You should know the anatomy of your SQL statement compulsorily. Now, how best you remember the criteria and composition of the SQL statement by its anatomy? That depends on your ability. I don't want to comment on that. But definitely you should have clarity when you are speaking about any particular insert. Now, when you are writing the insert, you can never know it will be conventional or it will be direct path. You can't say. All the decision is taken by Oracle's internal optimizer. Now, inserting the records is not difficult, but different situations can come when you are inserting the records. Now, I think we have created one table called as students. Now, taking students table as a reference, we will start working. Are you catching the point now? So, this is the table we had created for sake of our operations now. In reference to this particular column names and the corresponding data types only we will work. So you just watch here very carefully. Whenever you are trying to work with the construct, the first situation is you want to insert the data into the table, but for all the columns that are existing in the table. I'm making my point very clear. You want to insert the data into the table for all the columns that are existing in the table. Now in such cases what happens is, we will call the insert statement by declaring the table name, but watch carefully, after the table name did I declare any column names? No. Now here you should understand one thing. When you have declared your table name and you did not give any column names after that, you are indicating the optimizer that in this table I will insert the data for all the columns in the table. That's the first point you should remember. I'm making my words very clear. You are telling the optimizer that in this table I will insert the data for all the columns that are existing in the table. That's the first thing. Second thing, in that table as many number of columns are there, I will give the values in the original order with which the columns are created at the time of the table creation. Means when you are giving the values also, you should give the values exactly in the order of the columns that are existing within the table. You cannot mismatch the order. Anywhere you mismatch the order, the insert will fail. Means in this case, can you tell me one very important point you should remember? When you are writing this type of insert statement, what is the most important thing you should remember? You should remember the number of columns in the table plus the order of the columns in the table. Else your insert statement will fail. Now, you are calling the values clause. Now, within the values clause, you watch carefully, you are giving this value as 1, 2, 3, 4. So, you are very clearly saying that in my table, whichever column is the first column, that column should take this 1, 2, 3, 4, which is a numerical data. So, in your table, if that column is having number data type, then only this value will be taken, else it will be rejected. The same way you are giving this particular data as a second value. Means you are telling the optimizer that in my table, I am having my particular values, or I am having my table with a column where the second column should be ready to take the character type of data. The second column is having that character data type only, it will take, else it will reject. Here one very important point to recognize. Numbers are always declared directly without any special kind of protocol. But whenever you are declaring the characters, you have to always declare the characters with single quotes. Within the single quotes, you have to declare the characters. Starting of the character with a single quote and ending of the character with a single quote. So Oracle understands any time the data in characters only within the single quotes. And one more important point, you gave the data in capital letters, Oracle will store the data in capital letters only. If you gave the data in lowercase, it will store the data in lowercase only. Means business data is case sensitive in Oracle. Metadata is not case sensitive. But business data is always what? Case sensitive. Be very, very clear about that. So any operational data in Oracle is case sensitive. Always do be very clear about that particular concept. In that way, you will just try to give any number of values one after the another by separating the values with comma. Then you are giving the dates here. Now watch carefully. Dates in Oracle are also given through single quotes only. Now here the student will get one doubt. So characters are also given in single quotes and dates are also given in single quotes. How Oracle will understand which is a character, which is a date now? So Oracle always understands the dates by format. Every date has a format, DD-MON-YY. So Oracle will check that format for that particular data what you have given is matching to the date data type or not. If the format is matching to the date data type, then only it will accept the dates when they are kept into the single quote. You would always remember one thing, characters are only case sensitive, but when dates are given, they are format sensitive. They are not case sensitive, they are format sensitive. So dates are checked by format and characters are identified by what? Case. So you need to just understand this. So once I feel that I have given all the values to all the columns, then one record will be inserted. Now I just wanted to check very carefully when we are doing the first insert, especially first time beginners, you have to keep your concentration very seriously on the process. Now you just watch here. This is my actual table. How many columns I am having in my table now? Tell me. 8. Now I want to insert my data. Now this is my insert statement. Only for the sake of your convenience I have given comments there. Anything in SQL you write with 2 single hyphens, that becomes a comment automatically. Now you just watch very carefully here. So if you can just watch very properly to the process. I am saying that I want to insert the data through the construct, and whenever I am giving my values, you watch, that number was going directly into that location. My Sampath is going into my second column called as first name. Kumar is moving into the third column called as last name. Your 29th January 80 is moving into the date of birth column. Your 30th March 95 is moving into date of joining. Your 25,000 is going exactly into the fees. Your M is going into the column called as gender. Who inserted this record? So that name is going into the column called as what? Insert by. Am I declaring my values exactly in the order of the columns and their corresponding data types in the table or not? You have to remember that when you do not give after the table name, column names. Here you watch, after my table name in my insert, I did not give my column names. Therefore, give values for every column in the order of those particular columns according to their data types. That's where I said, if you don't know how to create your table and why you are creating it, insert will be confusion. That's how every topic is connected to the next topic, man. So fundamental concept of Oracle you cannot forget any time. I am very slow when I am discussing through my process. The simple reason is we are at the very early stages. But remember one thing, if I am spending 1 minute more on any topic in my starting stages means I will save 1 hour of my time in the advanced levels. Well in advance I am making it clear. So don't think that generally few students will feel like we are going too slow. Now I am only concentrating on first time beginners into Oracle because I can't keep them in confusion. Every minute I spend extra now, I will save by number of hours in my coming days. So we will not be so detailed and so clear in every topic whenever we go. Once I feel my fundamental levels are completed, when I pick up my industrial standards, my speed automatically increases. Therefore, a student cannot work in SQL statements until he cannot understand the fundamental storage unit called as what? Table. You don't need to create tables, but you should understand what is a table at least. Now, once this data has been given, 150% if the table is existing, wherever the table is existing, that doesn't matter. If you have permission on that particular table and you are accepted to execute one insert statement, your data will be taken and it will be inserted. Today we created one record in our business environment. Once Oracle says one row is created, it's created, that's all. You should believe this. You should believe Oracle has created the record. So where the record is created? Under this table, that's all. So can I see this record physically? You cannot see this record physically. You can only query logically. So if I go into my operating system C drive, can I find my record? Not even table you can find from here. You want to talk to Oracle's objects, you have to come only into the interface of what? Oracle. That's how it promises security for you. Means only when you are part of the Oracle database, you can interact with Oracle objects. Once you are outside the Oracle, you can't interact with anything. So nobody can enter into Oracle directly because it is given what? Username and password. So only the people who are authorized can enter into Oracle and they can start working. So when you start doing some particular work, be very clear about every line of that particular work what you are doing. Now, before we go to the second level of the implementation, I wanted to catch few things here itself. Are you catching the point now? Because I have to make it clear to you, I kept my SQL statement in multiple lines with comments. But technically, we can write this according to our fundamental convenience without any kind of comments. Generally, when you are writing, you write like this. I suggest that please keep your SQL statement in multiple lines because it gives clarity for your errors and everything. Are you catching the point now? Now, sir, if I write my SQL in a single line, I don't try to come and watch what you're doing, when I only suggest you this is the best way. See, to be frank enough, few students generally ask me, sir, you don't provide lab. It's not now, in 20 years since in my career, I don't give lab to any student. Why? Because once you enter into the lab, you will never learn anything because lab is fully configured. Examples are pre-designed and kept there. You just need to come, pull your keyboard and copy and paste it and go, finish. When you're working on your personal machine only, you'll do mistakes. When you do mistakes, you'll know what is happening and you'll correct it. So you should have your machine. Be very clearly sure about it. Whenever you get errors, first thing I want to say now, general tendency of a human being, you get an error, now you get irritated, you lose your concentration and confidence, that's your problem. In 2 lines, 3 lines, SQL statement, you cannot correct your errors. When you come to the industry, I am promising you, an SQL statement can be 1500 to 2000 lines. And imagine you get an error there. So you don't develop some attitudes from the classrooms and your personal machines, you cannot get those attitudes suddenly in the industry. And majority of the Indian people, I am also an Indian, okay, don't worry now. Whenever I comment in Indian, few people say like, sir, are you a foreigner? No, born and brought up here only. That's the reason I know my Indian gene very perfectly. Okay? So majority of the Indian people, we have one tendency that कोई आके मदद करेगा, आपका भगवान आपको नहीं कर सकता है, कोई दूसरा आके क्या करेगा? Don't expect that, okay? Soon the Indian industry will understand what is IT, man. Okay? We played a game and we were successful on these days because we never had a competitor on the other side. What happened is, we played the chess game, but both the sides I am only playing all these days. So I am always a winner only. That's what has happened in IT industry of India till today. Therefore we are world leaders. We are no more world leaders. Smallest countries are creating shiver under the spine of the Indian industries. Be careful. Why? Because with all those old stories, we cannot survive in the world today. Countries like Sri Lanka are becoming biggest competitors for us, man. Do you know? Last year, 5% of the Indian software projects were taken as subcontract from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka companies have bid the projects in the main contract and our companies took the subcontract from there. This is a fact. So, with stories you cannot survive in the industry, I am telling you. Therefore, somebody will help me, Google will help me, forget about all these things. 80% of the companies you can't touch any website after you get into your systems. Be very sure. Therefore, the only thing is believe your brain and believe your ability. That's the only final thing. So don't expect somebody will help you. Definitely not, because everybody is having his own pressure. Therefore, whenever an error comes, your consciousness should be clear why that error is coming. Second thing, many people don't like errors in Oracle. Why? Because errors in Oracle are not straightforward. That's the problem. Now you should always remember one issue. This record is inserted or not inserted? Inserted. It's available in the database or it's not available? Available. So I'm just going with select star from, I'm saying students. Now if this record is available, it should come to me, yes or no? Now is your record is visible or not visible? Visible. Now come along with me. I am in which user previously? Scott user. Now watch carefully. In the same machine I am connecting once again to Scott. Now how many connections are there on Scott? 2 connections. How many users are there in Scott? Only 1. There is only 1 user called as Scott, but 2 connections are there. Means 2 sessions are running now. Are you catching the point now? Now on which table I am working there? I am working on students table. Describe students. Students is available or not available? Available. How many records were inserted into student? 1 record. So I am saying select star from students. So try to understand the session management of Oracle now. It's too early, but put your brain on this side at least by 1%. So it is very clear evidence that the minute or the moment we insert 1 record, the record is not permanent in the database. So the way this record is now, every transaction when you execute in Oracle, transaction means insert, update, delete. I am making my words very clear. Whenever you say transaction, it is insert, update and delete. Any transaction you execute in Oracle, transaction will be completed to that session, but it's not permanent till we do not make it permanent. That is the reason a transactional change in one particular session will not be visible to another session till the original owner of the session makes it permanent. First time beginners, you may have some resistance on this, but you have to catch certain things I am telling you. I'll make them more clear as the days are moving on. Certain things what you can understand by maturity, you will definitely understand, but somewhere we have to start with confusion first of all. So, in a personal machine itself, you should have these ideas very clear. So, when million users are working, watch carefully. One user's operational state is never known to the other user at any point of time. Secured or not secured? Secured. So, until we do not make a transactional change permanent, other sessions can never see the change. Then where is this data is the question now. Is this data is in my Oracle database or it's not in my Oracle database? It should be in Oracle database. If it is not in Oracle database, it is insecure. But where it is in Oracle database? It is in one special kind of memory called as rollback segment area. Keep that word very clear. So every time we conduct one transaction, the transactional change is always existing in one special kind of location within that session, which is called as rollback segment area. When your change is in the rollback segment area, the other session users cannot see that because I didn't make it permanent. So till you do not make a transaction permanent, only the owner will see, not the other people. Try to understand this particular point. Are you catching me? Now, I want to make this record permanent now. Then we will use one command called as commit. Commit is one statement that is used to make any transaction permanent which is pending till then. So once I said commit, Now, I am the owner, so I can always see my data, no doubt about it. Whether it's committed, it's not committed, I can see the changes because I am the owner. But other session users cannot see the changes until it's not committed. Now it's committed or not committed? Committed. Once you commit, from the rollback segment area, your change goes to the physical database. Now it went into the physical database. Therefore you watch here, once I say this, I can see now. This is a very clear construct. So where these things are happening, simple. You are standing in front of your ATM machine and your father made a call and said that I am transferring the amount into your account. Now he transferred the amount and he got a message, transfer successful. And you are going into the ATM machine and keeping a card and you are trying to take the transactional state. But your balance here says that it's not sufficient balance. Now what's happening here? So understand, you are committing, your father has completed the transaction and he has committed. But Oracle never carries each commit immediately, independently to the disk. That is what I was saying here. Slowly that process of the bandwidth moves. Are you catching the point? No? That reason, generally, after 20 minutes or 30 minutes you query from your ATM machine, you will get your balance. These are certain things that we have to understand in real time, how the architectures are built. From a classroom, million users experience, you cannot have it, but you can always take a pseudo experience of 2 users. If 2 users behavior is this, million users behavior will be in the same way. Therefore, until I do not commit my data, I can never make the data to be permanent and seen by the other users. Is the point clear to you? No. This record is already existing or not existing now? Existing. Permanent or non-permanent? Permanent. Oracle is RDBMS or Oracle is not RDBMS? RDBMS. Can RDBMS, according to the principles of RDBMS, can we have 2 records to be same within your database tables? According to the principles of RDBMS, can we have duplicated information in the table? According to RDBMS principles, can we have duplicated records within your particular tables? Yes or no? No, definitely not. If your data is getting duplicated, then how you will know which is the original data out of that now? So as per the principles of RDBMS, definitely no 2 records can ever be same totally. Oracle is RDBMS or it's not RDBMS? It's RDBMS. Now when Oracle is RDBMS, now let me say that I am inserting the same record once again now. I am inserting the same record once again as it is. As per principles of RDBMS, within one table, no 2 records can ever be same. And definitely Oracle is an RDBMS software or non-RDBMS software? RDBMS software. When it is an RDBMS software, definitely I think it should reject this particular record now. Now that's where our conflict starts between the theory of RDBMS to the practicality of RDBMS. That's how generally you find people saying that, sir, I'm understanding SQL, but I'm not understanding RDBMS oriented SQL. Therefore, if we are talking about SQL, we don't need to discuss these kind of things. But basically, if we are talking about RDBMS oriented SQL, then definitely these things are very important. Industry works with RDBMS oriented SQL, not just SQL. So when you are leaving this particular class, 150% you should be RDBMS oriented SQL developers, not just SQL developers. That's additional burden we should definitely keep when compared with other students who are doing the same technology with only the technology part but not the principles and the conceptual part. So from the same classroom, we will understand the concepts, will catch the principles, we will know the design, we will understand the technology, we will catch the security, we will be associated with architecture, and we will be developing idea towards an application, and finally some simple programs. So programs are the most least concentration from my side. Why? Because when you can know all these things, you will write your own programs. I don't need to support you for that. So, principles based SQL implementation, not subject based SQL implementation. So, the session concept and anything, anybody who's absolute pressure, you're having some confusions, don't worry. See, getting confusion is a healthy sign, man. Because only when that starts, your brain starts working. So when there is no confusion, your brain is not working. Faculty's brain is working. When you are getting confusion means your brain started working. So when your brain starts getting confusion, let it confuse. Don't worry. Okay? Eliminating that confusion is my job. Sir, when you will eliminate the confusion? Maybe tomorrow or at the end of my course also. Who knows? Because starting the confusion is my job, and removing it is also my job only. But when I will do that, when I feel you are looking enough mature to eliminate that confusion, then I will discuss that. So till then what I should do? Being in confusion is a healthy sign. Okay? You should thank me first of all, because I am giving you extra health today. So whenever you get a confusion, you should thank me. Why? Because you don't need a neurological doctor in your life. Because I am proving that your brain is working. Else you should go and take CT scan, MRI. CT scan is 15,000 rupees, MRI 25,000 rupees. Oh God, 75,000 rupees I saved here only for you. So technically be happy now, okay? So you are confusing me every day. Thank me every day. So eliminating confusions is my job. You just don't worry about that. Are you catching the point now? So if I put any particular confusion in your brain, that should get matured now. Okay, when it is matured, then it will come out very properly. So you just don't worry about that. So sometimes students say, sir, we are feeling that you're leaving half the way. No, I'm keeping you half the way. I'm not leaving you half the way. And I will make you come out of that after a few days. Because slowly we will come out of the solutions. We are not going to get excited and anxiety oriented in the process. So tomorrow we'll have solutions for, shall we say Oracle is RDBMS or it's not RDBMS? Okay, 24 hours time for you to tell me that answer. Thank you very much. Once again tomorrow with you.